Did you know that nearly 40% of students, regardless of dyslexia, struggle with letter reversals? While common in early development, if these challenges persist, they can hinder academic performance. Hi, I'm Emily. I'm an occupational therapist in the schools, and I have worked with countless children on making sure that they write their letters and numbers with the correct orientation and not backwards. In this video, we will explore 7 essential strategies to help your child or student overcome letter reversals and boost their academic performance. This happens because of a visual perceptual skill called form constancy. So that is when our brain can look at an image and it knows exactly what it is, even if it is rotated. Let's take a house as an example. Our brain knows that a house is still a house even when it is flipped upside down or if we would see one turn on its side. But that's not the case for letters. Check out this letter. If I turn it upside down, it completely changes what letter we're talking about. And that's why this is so difficult for children. A letter B could turn into letter D, P, or Q, just depending on the way that it is oriented. The same thing with number 3. That could look like an E if it is flipped. So now that we know why letter reversals happen in the first place, let's talk about what we can do to try to fix them. My number 1 tip to help students and children who reverse letters and numbers when they are writing is to teach directional concepts first. So this must be done early on. You want to teach your child what top and bottom mean, what left and right means. So those children that have a good grasp on directional concepts, they have the foundation to recognize and understand how to form letters correctly. And if they have that, that is going to significantly improve their ability to orient their numbers and letters the correct way when writing. You can also work on this without even touching a pencil or paper. So this is something where, have the child put something on top of a container, on the bottom, something to the left, to the right. You can talk about it when you're driving around in the car or put a hair tie or something on their dominant hand. So again, this does not need to be focused on when you're actually doing the writing. This is just a foundational building block before we even start writing and forming our letters. My second tip has to do with sequencing. So let's say your child has difficulty with numbers and letters. First, we are going to start with numbers. Those are the easiest for children to usually get a good grasp on orienting. So we're going to focus on numbers first, and we will just start on working on one number at a time. So if they frequently reverse 3, we will start with number 3. Then we are going to move on to uppercase letters, then lowercase letters, because those are the most difficult. So we want our child to find success early on with some of those other numbers and letters before we move on to the most difficult ones. My next tip is to use visual cues to help with formation. So this would be something like using a dot as a starting point of where to start to form the letter or number. And then Learning Without Tears has some great gray block paper that can also help. So let's say, for instance, we're working on uppercase E. So they're going to start at the dot and make their long line down. They will come back up to that dot and they will make their next line across on the gray block paper. So it basically prevents them from orienting the letter or number the incorrect way while they're learning. My next tip is to have the child work on sorting the letters that they're having difficulty with. And you can do this with like a lazy 8 or an infinity symbol. And what they're going to do is certain letters, let's say lowercase b, that curve goes to the right. So they will put lowercase b on the right side of the infinity or the lazy 8. And then they're going to put other letters that curve to the left, like lowercase d, on the left side. My next piece of advice is to play games, and what child doesn't like to play games? So there's 2 fun ones. You can do tic-tac-toe and have the child focus on a letter that they struggle with. So if I'm having difficulty forming lowercase d, then I'm going to be D's for tic-tac-toe. And then the other one is slapjack. So you're going to write a bunch of letters out on some index cards, and then you're just going to flip those over. And whenever that letter that they're practicing is presented, you're going to want to have them slap that. My next piece of advice is to use verbiage and songs to help. So I'll use B and D as an example because those are 2 common ones. So when we are making lowercase d, that's a magic C letter. So we're going to think about making that magic C before we start to turn it into a D. And then for lowercase b, we're going to start with an H. So we're going to start by thinking honey bee, HB. We are going to start to form an H and then we are going to turn it into a B. And that should help the child be able to orient that correctly. My next tip is to use visuals. And I'll use B and D again as an example because that is so difficult. So we'll do things like using B and D and spelling out bed and using that with a visual. Or we might do B has a belly and D has a diaper. And what kid doesn't like some funny way to remember something? It really helps them learn and helps it sink into their memory. I hope you enjoyed these 7 tips. I would greatly appreciate it as a new content creator if you could like and subscribe to my channel. I will be sharing more information for occupational therapists, staff members, parents, and teachers very soon. Please comment below and let me know what tips and tricks you have used to help children. I would love to hear from you.